Hello and welcome to another video from Dazzletron's Diorama Llama. And in this video I'm going to be reviewing Newage's Seaspray and Man of War. So I am a collector of Newage figures. Newage produce Legends scale Transformer figures. So this is a third-party company, they're not official releases, but they do produce some amazing figures. Now, they're not the only makers of Legends scale Transformers on the market. There are quite a number actually of other manufacturers, but this is the company that I tend to stick with. Occasionally I do buy some Iron Factory. In fact, one of my most recent, just pop this guy off my shelf, is Drill Horn. And so this is Iron Factory's version of Lyokazer and the kind of Breast Force team, and these are really cool. So I haven't done a review on this because there are plenty of reviews of this out there already. So you might be thinking, why am I reviewing then this figure here? Well, basically this came in the post this morning and I looked online, as I always do when I get a Transformer. I like to have a look at transformation videos. I know part of the fun of having a Transformer is to kind of figure it out yourself, but it always kind of worries me that I'm going to break something. So I like to have a look at a review or a transformation video just to make sure I'm not going to put too much pressure on a joint and kind of snap or break anything. I haven't had that problem, if I'm being honest, with most of my figures. In fact, the main breaks that I've had have been from mainline figures, believe it or not. So I've been pretty lucky so far, but I know it happens. So I tend to like to be a bit careful. So yeah, I went online to have a look, and apart from a couple of kind of really early reviews, which I think have been sent to them. So there's a really talented YouTuber out there called Mangmotion, and he creates little kind of stop motion videos and reviews. Fantastic. If you're into Transformers and in particular third party, it is worthwhile checking him out. So that's Mangmotion. So he's got a video out there, in fact showing Optimus Prime transforming this guy, which is really cool. But there's no English kind of reviews out there, not yet, not that I've seen. So I thought, do you know what, I will make a review of a modern figure. As you know, most of my spotlights, as I call them, are vintage figures, which again, if there's not much content out there. So anyway, that's me waffling on. Why did I pick up this figure? Seaspray, one of my favourite characters as a child. He was kind of my pocket bot. He was called a mini bot because he was small, bigger than this actually. But I could fit him in my pocket, really easy transformation. In fact, he would just kind of literally pull out and you kind of tilt him up, and that was it. That was the transformation, very simple. But I'd loved kind of taking this guy around because I could take him anywhere, and that was the beauty of this character. And in fact, the mini bots in general, but he was pretty much, I think, the only mini bot that I had. And I think why this character is so important to me is because I sold off pretty much my whole Transformer collection, and he was the only one that I kept. But unfortunately, he was misplaced when I kind of moved houses or just in kind of the unpacking of things. So I haven't seen him for years. I still kind of hold on to hope that he might be in a drawer somewhere or the back of a bag or something, and that I will find him eventually. So I've never picked up another G1 version, but I've picked up other versions of this character just because I really like the character. He has a lot of nostalgia and memories kind of for me. So when I heard Newage were producing their version of him, I had to kind of snap one up. And what's nice about this is that it comes in a 2-pack, which I was a little bit unsure about at first. It kind of felt a bit like kind of a cash grabbing idea, but I think because these are so small, it kind of does make sense in some ways to have a couple of these guys together. And actually it's really nice to have this version. So this is Man of War, and I think he was an IDW character. I'm not completely sure, but it was based on the prototype colours. So there's actually an old photograph out there showing the kind of wave of mini-bots, and rather than the kind of yellow, white and blue that we're used to with the character Seaspray, is actually in this deco here with the red, the light blue and the dark blue, which is really, really cool. And I didn't know anything about this character until I saw this pack and I saw this kind of deco, and I thought, well, who's that? And after a little bit of research, yeah, it was nice to find that out. So yeah, I quite like actually having this kind of almost prototype kind of colour version as well. So if we have a little look at the packaging, we've got some really nice artwork. We've got the kind of Japanese style kind of artwork, which is really, really cool. We've got some nice kind of photographs of Tremors, which is Man of War. We've got a nice little photograph at the back there with Bumblebee, as they have released some of the mini bots previously. And then we've got their version, which they've called Triton, but obviously we know him as Seaspray. So what do you get? So you get the two figures. You also get this little kind of wave piece, which is really, really nice. You get two of those. You get a clear version and you get a blue tinted version, and then you get two of the guns, which are pretty much identical, and that's just a black gun with a little bit of blue on the handle there, and that fits in really snug into his hand. Yeah, so great stuff. So let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. So you can see we've got some nice kind of paintwork in the eyes there. Really nice sculpting details. We've got some kind of metallic kind of finish there in the window. And again on the back, nice and clean. A little bit of a gap there, but obviously we need that for the joint. So if we look at articulation, you can see the arms move all the way around. You've got the elbow kind of swivel there, which moves up kind of 90 degrees. There's no swivel in the wrist, which you do get actually with Newage. In fact, if I just show you their Optimus Prime, you can see there you get actually a bend at the wrist, and you do get rotation, which is, yeah, really nice. And you get lots of alternative hands usually as well with these figures. We don't in this case because it's all kind of sculpted in one. So we've got that elbow kind of joint. The head is on a ball joint, so that will turn. Quite hard to get into because of the kind of the design there, but you can kind of move that down just to get some clearance. And you can see there we can kind of turn the head. It's a little bit tight at the moment just because this is brand new. It does as well look up, which is great, and you get a little bit of tilt down as well, which is also nice. In fact, let me just push that back up and you'll see that a little bit more there because the back of the head there tilts up as well, so that gives you a little bit more kind of articulation there in the head if you need it. We've got a waist joint here, and that will turn all the way around. That's quite tight though, so I'm not going to turn that too much. You get also an ab crunch. Yeah, I was trying to think what it's called. Yeah, so you get this kind of ab crunch there, which is really nice. You often don't get that in figures of this scale, but again, Newage are known for their kind of sculpts, articulation, their paint finishes, really, really good. So we also get this kind of elbow joint, so again a 90-degree bend there, and we get an ankle rocker as well. So really good articulation considering how small this is. So in fact, if I just kind of show you against another Newage, So these are generally around about the size of most of their figures. Obviously there's differences in scale because of the characters and the size of those characters. So they kind of scale pretty well there. So you can see he's much smaller than their version of Optimus Prime. But if I show you next to a Marvel Legends, you can see just how small he actually is. So when you see the amount of detail in these, it's great. It's really fantastic. And as I said, the paint finishes, you get, it's not metallic, but you get a really nice kind of sheen to the paintwork. It's almost got like a pearlescent effect there on the white. The yellow looks a little bit more kind of, I suppose, plastic. In fact, I think that is just molded plastic there, although the top part here looks kind of fully painted. So very nice indeed. And if we compare that to Man of War, it is almost a metallic finish there on the blue, particularly that dark blue. And I love the kind of little accents of yellow there in the red. In terms of the mold, they are pretty much identical. The only thing that I've noticed is the top here. So where the blades are, you can see these are kind of look like a bit like missiles. So they look a bit like missiles. They've got a bit of a point to them, where these are kind of rounded off and kind of much shorter. I don't think there's a difference in the head, but I will double check. In fact, if I just take off this effect piece, give that a bit of a swivel, and I'm just going to undo his arms there. And that means I can pull that up, undo this flap here, and let's just pull his head up and just have a quick comparison between the two. Actually, there is a difference. So you can see on the Man of War version, you've got those kind of little grooves there in the faceplate, whereas on Seaspray, you can see that's kind of flat and smooth. So that's nice. There's that kind of little extra difference there, and of course the colours on the front here. So yeah, so great, really good. So we've seen articulation, so let's have a go at transformation. So when you get these in the packet, on the package, they are in kind of robot mode. So let's start with the legs. That's probably, I suppose, the fiddliest part. What's really nice about Newage is their engineering. With the original G1, it was a really simple transformation. So it's really cool that they've kind of just put, I suppose, a bit more thought in the kind of the process. So you can see at the back here, we've got this kind of little piece there, which is on a joint. And I think that's just for kind of stability, so it doesn't kind of fall backwards. So we can kind of move that around. So we're just going to pull that up and push that piece down. And then what we want to do is, can we see you've got this little tab here? We want that to go in that hole there. So we need to turn that around and then just kind of close that up. And that will just kind of snap into place there. So let's do the same on this one. So we're just going to lift up the back, push this part down, turn that around, and then this all will close together and just snap in place. And now we want to tilt the foot. Yeah, we're going to turn that all the way around. Do the same on the other side. And then we can kind of turn this now from the knee to kind of get that in place. We want to bring that up here. So again, I'm going to do that on this side. We're going to turn that around from the knee and then pull that up. You can see now we're forming the front of the hovercraft. So you can see we've got a tab on both sides. So I'm just going to push those in. And so then with the arms, you can see on the forearm, we've got this little flap here. So you just need to get your kind of fingernails into that, pull that out. Do the same on the other side. And then this will form the side panels of the hovercraft. So moving to the head, so if we turn this around, you saw earlier on Man of War that we've got this little kind of door flap here, and that means we can push the head right back, but also the legs here want to kind of push up inside that kind of cavity there, and then close that up. Now if I just repeat that, you can see there's a hole there and a tab in the middle, so that closes up nicely. Now if you try and push these arms in place while this part is down, it won't reach the tab, so we need to lift that up first, and then we can turn the arms, and you can see the tabs there. There's one just at the back there, one here. We're just going to push that into place, and do the same on the other side, and just push that into place. There we go. Always miss this part out. So you can see there's like a slanted part there. That should be at the front. If I show you on this version. So I need to untab the arms again, lift up the back part here, and we just want to turn that around, tilt that back in place, and get the arms back in. Just tap all of that in, and that cleans up really, really well. There's a slight gap in between the back of the arm there, but I don't think that's very noticeable. Some of you might not like that, but there's very little on show there. It looks very compact. You can't see the head, you can't see any of the kind of hands. It's all covered up really, really well. One of the things that some people complain about with Newage is that sometimes you see kind of like holes and details that you don't want, and I must admit it's a shame that's not like just a smooth piece. Kind of makes him look a little bit like a cartoon character from Cars, because they kind of look like eyes, but that doesn't bother me too much, considering, you know, the whole of this I think has a really nice finish. So there is Seaspray, and then we can just finish him off with the effect. You can see there's a little hole in the middle, there's a tab there, push that into place, and an extra nice touch just for storage is that there's a little hole there for his gun. Oops. And there we go, and there is his gun in place. And I'm very, very impressed with that. Considering the scale of this, I think that's amazing. So let's have a look at Man of War, and we'll transform him. So let's just put him back into his mode. So I'm not going to tab those up, because that's the first thing we need to do, is just kind of pull those arms out. So we'll do that and actually remove his gun. We're going to pull this part back, and then we're going to open up this little flap at the side here, lift up the head, and then we can pull the waist out, just extend that out a little bit so that we can close up that flap again. We're going to undo the legs. There we go. I'm going to turn this part of the chest around, because I always forget to do that. And so then here, we're going to lift these down, and we're going to just turn them out of the way. So it looks a little bit weird like that, just so we've got a bit of clearance there. And then we can open up this part of the foot. And if we come around to the bottom of the feet, we just want to undo the front here, pull that up. And if you remember, we need to turn that around so it's facing the other way. And then that will kind of then fall into place. And the last thing we need to do is just kind of pull that kind of, I suppose, stability kind of joint there. So we do the same here. We're just going to untab this bit. So we're going to lift that up, turn that around so it's facing the other way, push that down, and we're going to take that little joint at the back there and push that to the back. And now we can pull these legs down, kind of twist the knees. So you've got these little kind of pegs there at the front, and then put his feet into place. And then with the arms here, you've just got this tab on the forearm, or this flap. Just going to close that up to reveal his fists. Turn the forearms the right way, so they kind of bend in the right position. And there we have Man of War. And again, he looks fantastic. So really, really pleased with both of these. And let's just, as you know, I mean, I don't create, in fact, I haven't created a kind of a seascape diorama just because water's quite difficult. But this is just a nice, quick, easy effect, just using bubble wrap. So let's put our Seaspray in place. And I think he looks really, really cool. And so there you have it. There is my review of Seaspray and Man of War from Newage. I suppose the last thing to mention, when you do order from Shozy, which is where my version of this came from, they do often include some sticky labels, as these, again, they're not official products, so at least you can put kind of the Autobot or the Decepticon logo in place. And you can see you get various sizes of this, and you can do that if you wish to. So if you've enjoyed this review, if you have any memories of Seaspray or another Transformer bot that you used to carry around, please do let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and join me again soon. And finally, if you haven't seen February's monthly make, which is of a impact creator, please do check that out, and I'll see you in the near future. Bye for now.